School Resource Officer. Welcome, Matt.
Can't stop. Yeah, can't stop grad.
Oh, can't stop grad. Thank you. Sorry about that. We have Kim Blend, who is our new Trek teacher at the middle school. She couldn't be here tonight because of the volleyball game. Two other teachers at the middle school weren't able to be here with us this evening, but Stacy Farrell is an 8th grade social studies teacher, and Caitlin Freeday. The Freeday name might also sound familiar to you. That's the Freeday family. She's our art teacher at the middle school. Joe Pileggi is our security officer at the middle school. Sharon Williams, I think she's being board approved this evening, correct? She will be a student monitor at the high school. Also at the high school, we have Adam Hall, who you've been introduced to before as our Dean of Students and our girls basketball head coach. Adam has learned very quickly that it is great to attend a meeting that I lead. John Von Spiegel is our security officer at the high school. You'll see him at door 2, security desk. And I believe he has a history here in Canton, local as well.
Yeah.
He's a familiar face. Jenny White has a student in our school district, and she is with us as a high school school counselor. And Greg Whitney is working security for the district at Canton South High School. And now we're going to turn to some consistent faces around the district. So consistent that they have been recognized for their years of service this year. So for 15 years of service, we recognized Lisa Frazee, Krista Gearhart, Sean Haynes, Jimmy Laughlin, and Cassie Stanford. With 20 years of service in the district, we recognized Michelle Bales, Robin Bentley, Derek Philo, Amy Hogue, Kurt Miller, Katie Nolan, Jeremy Knoll, Scott Stayer, and Lisa Watazik. 25 years of service in the district, Crystal Boyce, Sherry Davies, Sherry Kendrick, and Erica Karavic. And finally, with 30 years of service in the district, Tanya Van Boris, and she received a rounding roar of applause at our convocation. And so in the midst of everything required of employees working in the arena of education today, it is a privilege to recognize these new staff who sign up for this work with such great enthusiasm, as well as those who continue tirelessly to serve and provide for our students. As you are out and about at events and in buildings, I invite you to share words of encouragement and appreciation to all staff, principals, teachers, school counselors, safety personnel, nursing staff, nutrition services staff, bus drivers, custodians, among countless others who serve and provide for Canton local Wildcats. We are all looking forward to a great 2022-2023 school year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Canton local family.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Coatzeder. All right, Mrs. Miller, you are up. And guys, I know we recognize, but if you remember, Mrs. Miller was our teacher who last year was up for the Ohio State Teacher of the Year, was the Region 8 Teacher of the Year.
And I lost to the dude who won the entire nation.
Yeah.
So if you have to lose to someone, lose to the dude who gets it for the entire nation. Hello, I'm Nancy Miller. This is Clarence. I made him wear a silly hat because that's how I roll. Okay, a year ago, I was approached from Cleveland State University to do an action research program. Manners. Good. An action research project. And I went to Mr. Yeagley with 2 ideas, expecting to get 2 no's, and I got 2 yeses. So I just wanted to update you on both of the programs. I was offered $1,500 from Cleveland State in order to do anything I wanted to do that would help my students. So some people like rote curriculum and stuff. The two that I had, one of them we started in May. One we started in May, and that was Take 10, where up in the Design Center is a boxing, a heavy bag and boxing gloves, and students can sign themselves out to go take a moment. It was used by about 150 students last year, and the data that we collected from it, as far as they had to take a perceived stress scale before they went in and after they went in, and the data was phenomenal. If anybody's really a data freak like I am, I have it. I actually purchased a set for East Canton and donated it to them, so they're starting the program, and I presented at a national conference with the data. I'm not sure where we're taking it this year. I would like to have correlation between their test scores, like their MAP scores, and the kids who are frequent flyers. From the students, it was overwhelming, and I have not opened it back up this year, but they're asking for it. It's just a nice, and by the way, it was Take 10 because they go in there, it's private for them, there's a window so that we can kind of see what's going on. They trade their phones for a set of boxing gloves, and we set the timer for 10 minutes. Nobody made it for 10 minutes, but they all walked out happier children. And so the idea behind it is whether it's not just anger and whatever, it's frustration, it's I ate too much at lunch and have an algebra test next period. They've used it for a lot of different sources because we know that physical activity affects their things. So I just want to let you guys know, if you hear that I do have students signing out boxing gloves, it is in fact true. And so it's kind of exciting, and the kids were excited by it, so I wanted to share that with you. The other that I asked for is a therapy puppy, because everybody needs a puppy. This is Clarence. He's been working very hard all summer. He is just about ready to be certified. But before as a scientist, I like all my ducks in a row, then I like them reevaluated and then reevaluated. And I wanted to let the board know that this is kind of where I'm heading. I would like my human students to be well underway before we would enter something like this into the classroom. But he would be there for kids just to love on, because if we're having a bad day, you either go punch something or love on something. So pretty much those would be the two. I thought this meeting was at 6, so he's been sitting in my classroom since 5:30. So maybe his mom should learn to, read. The other piece is that I wanted to throw out there, I am associated with the American Therapy Dog Certification Program, so he will be certified. And as far as the insurance goes, I'd like to just throw it out there. As a volunteer, his insurance is covered. As an employee, I have to buy my insurance, so that's where part of my grant from the state is coming in, is they're going to have the insurance coverage for him. Although he's a lover, I don't know that I'll need it, but you always got to be careful. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If anybody has any questions about where we're going, I'm not planning to bring him in for at least a month. We've got to let our kids get acclimated to school in general, and then just have him as a staple in my room, so that when people are having a bad moment, they can show up and get some buttons. So I just wanted to keep you updated and informed, and Clarence needed to make his debut. We're working on manners. Manners.
You guys have any questions for Mrs. Miller?
Yes, do you have anything for me? If you have any, feel free to send me an email. If you want any of the data from the boxing glove thing, you can let me know, and I'm more than happy to share my charts and my standard deviations, but most people don't care. So I didn't put those in a slideshow. Anything?
No, we just appreciate you
Yeah,
Well,
thank you very much.
and all of your work, and I enjoyed my day in your classroom too, so that was.
Well, thank you so very much. My crime scene's upstairs.
Okay.
So just so you know. And he will be groomed every Monday before he comes in by the small animal science. So everybody wins, right?
Nice.
Okay, buddy, let's go.
No, as Mrs. Miller threw that out to Mr. Moore in the back there, and myself, I mean, I think we all know last year was a tough year. It was a tough year for a lot. So anything we could do, thinking outside the box, and that came from Ms. Miller. So we're just very, very excited about that and getting started. So glad, like I said, she was going to be able to be here in July. It didn't work out, so we wanted to make sure you guys knew what was going on. Okay? Great. Thanks. Thanks,
Thank you.
Ms. Miller. Thank you, Mrs. Coates Everett. And you're right. As much as we love our new staff, it's hard to beat Clarence, guys. He's pretty awesome. All right.
Clarence looks like he could be a twin to my boy Sheldon, so, and looks exactly like him. I've got 5 things here tonight. First item on the agenda, approval of monthly financial reports. This is for the month of August. It's hard to believe it's September already, but Exhibit TA1 is their cash reconciliation for the month ended August 31st. Total deposit accounts, $1,809,882.83, and total investments of $14,637,867.24, and a total reconciled balance of $16,311,656.95. That's page 1. Page 2 is a listing of all of our operating investments we have with U.S. Bank. You'll notice that the construction account was closed out with U.S. Bank, and those funds are now held in Star, Ohio until we process the final few change orders for our construction projects. That's in the Star, Ohio capital account there on the front page. We've got just a little bit left there. And then page 3 is a general fund comparison this year compared to last year through the end of August, and then our estimates, which we'll be updating those as we get into the 5-year forecast compared to the actual. Just a couple line items I wanted to point out. Last year, we started the year with $9.9 million in the general fund. This year, we started with $12.7 million. So our beginning cash balance was significantly higher. Some revenue line items that we've seen significant differences from last year to this year. Really, the only revenue line item is in other local. We talked about that last month. The Canton City income tax payment we get for income tax sharing for abated properties normally comes in July. It came in June this year, so it was reported last fiscal year about $200,000. So that's why we're $200,000 lower this year compared to last year with other revenue. On the expenditure side, fringe benefits are significantly higher. That's simply because last year we got 2 premium holidays. This year we only received 1. So we did pay for employee health insurance for August. So we're about $300,000 over where we were last year in fringe benefits. Ended the month in the general fund with $12.1 million. And then there's a listing of funds down below. A couple of funds to point out. Significant drops, obviously, in our building fund and our capital projects fund as the middle school project and all those other projects have come to completion. We're down about $13.8 million in those 2 funds, which is expected. So I recommend the financial reports for approval. Item B is the appropriation resolution for the 2022-23 fiscal year. By September 30th, the board's required to set the appropriation authority for each fund. Exhibit TV1, there's, let's see, 4 or 5 pages here. The first 4 pages is the formal resolution. It's printed off from our e-finance system. The total is $41,098,327.87 for all funds. General fund appropriations, $26,730,488. And I won't list all of the other funds, but in total, $41,098,327.87, and general fund $26.7 million. The final page, I did give you a listing by each fund of the last 3 fiscal years where the actual expenditures came in, and then the 4th column over is the actual current year appropriation number, and then we have our carryover purchase orders, and then next to last column for the total appropriation authority. So the resolution that was the first 4 pages is the total appropriation authority. That included all carryover encumbrances. So if you wanted to compare the last 3 years and look at what we're spending in the current year, you have those numbers there for you to look at. And I will, when I do the 5-year forecast, hand out my annual appropriation book as well, probably the month of November this year. So you'll get that information as well. I recommend the appropriation resolution for approval. Item C through E, we have some change orders, and then we have 1 construction item to end with. Item C is a change order for the annex HVAC and lighting project, $16,260.30. This is for ductwork revisions that required design changes to the project. Item D is a change order in the amount of $46,511.85. These are owner requested changes at the annex, HVAC and lighting. We had 3 power cord reels in animal science. And then the biggest chunk of that change order is adding exterior aluminum entrance doors to help close in that facility. If you've been there in the past few years and saw the exterior doors, they were not in great shape. We were able to use some of our savings from some of our other projects to upgrade those doors. So I recommend that change order for approval as well. Exhibit E, this is the final change order for the middle school. Beaver has accumulated a bunch of different design clarifications and owner requests to do one final change order rather than change ordering us to death and having 20 change orders. At the end of the day, the final change order cost is $67,823.98. And you have a list in there in Exhibit TE1 of those changes. The 2 biggest things, which total about $60,000 of that, if you walk along the sidewalk along Route 800, you'll notice a couple of things. One, we used to have an entranceway that came in between the parking facility that was down there and the medical facility, that gravel drive that we had in between the construction site and there. We had to take that out because it still had a cut down onto 800. We didn't want people using that as a drive to pull into the grass or something like that, so we put a curb in there, added that, and then we also touched up all the sidewalks there, so that way it looks natural. We had a mix of old and then new sidewalks, back to old, back to new, because of the work that was done. So we were able to do that. And then the other thing, locker room floors. If you went through, toured the new middle school and you went into the locker rooms, you saw that really nice epoxy floor. It's going to last forever. It looks great and it's very durable as opposed to just regular concrete floors. So those are the change orders. Some of the most significant change orders. The rest are listed there. That way you can take a look at them. I recommend Exhibit E in that change order for approval. And then the final thing is the GMP for the abatement and demolition of Walker Elementary School. The total GMP amount, $734,565.54. This is for Beaver to perform that work. Get started and have the building completely down and cleaned up by the time snow flies is the plan. So I think the substantial completion date is supposed to be December 7th. They would have that seeded and everything. So that way it's a clean site before winter time. Just to note, the OFCC budget for this project came in right under $950,000. When you factor in the $734,000 of work for the abatement and demolition, this contract for Beaver, and then the design costs and abatement consultation fees, we're at about $794,000. So we're $150,000 under budget on this project, which is great in the economic climate that we're in. So I recommend this GMP for approval. That's items A through F.
All right, I so move on items A through F.
I'm going to pull
C, D, E, and F.
to vote on separately.
Okay, so I'll move on items A and B then.
Right. All right.
Need a
Is there
second? Second.
All right. All those in favor? Or, well,
Well,
mixing up my meetings.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Kowalski?
Aye.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Okay, so now I move on items C, D, E, and F.
I'll second. Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Kowalski?
Abstain.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye. All right. Now we move on to the communication.
Communications, yeah.
Okay, so guys, we do not have our students of the month yet. We will have them as we move into October. And I'm also going to say, same deal, as we move this up a little bit, and Mr. Cole, I'm sure Mr. Moore will be working with you on this. We're going to get our student representatives to the board ready for the October board meeting as well. One of my favorite parts is listening to our kids get up there and talk. As far as other committees go, a little bit athletic council. Coach Dennison did meet with all the head coaches last week, I believe on Tuesday. very, very good meeting, just making sure everything was going in the right direction. And our fall sports really are in full swing right now. Cross country has participated in 2 invitationals at Claymont and Cumbertown. This past weekend, our boys finished 5th and our girls finished 7th out of 17 teams. In football right now, our team is currently 2-1, following back-to-back victories over Claymont and Sandy Valley. We start off league play this week coming up in our new league that we're in, the PAC 7 with CBCA. Girls golf, just so you know, as we move to the PAC, there are not enough teams that qualify for them to win a league championship. You have to have so many teams. Like, for example, when we were up against Orville, they actually had a girl golfing on their boys team because they didn't have enough for their separate girls team. With that being said, our girls are having a phenomenal year so far right now. If they continue to play like they're playing, Coach believes we're going to be able to make a nice run into tournament. You obviously need to go and do that, but it's been a very good start for them. Our boys golf team right now competing, we have a JV team going, we have a varsity team going here as well. Got some nice victories in our first league match over Orville and Triway, and just going to continue to grow there. Both boys and girls soccer have been in action with a lot of young players on their roster. Both teams make an improvement. Our boys soccer team is going to take on Orville tomorrow night at home. Our girls soccer team will be at Sandy Valley on Thursday. Girls tennis currently right now, didn't mean to smack the table that hard, I apologize. Girls tennis is 6-0 right now within the league. Obviously, there's still a lot left to play, but are in a good spot for the league, potential league championship. And if that happens, we're going to celebrate the heck out of them. But they're having a very nice year as well. Volleyball, we have a ton of injuries right now. I mean, it is a lot of injuries. So our girls are playing very, very hard. They're just now hitting the heart of their schedule. They're out there playing right now against Orville. Tomorrow night, we're home against Youngstown Urban Scholars. So a lot going on with fall sports. And I'll throw in there as well, even though it's not sports related, our band been very, very active in the Hall of Fame parade. Every game out there performing for us as well, doing a very nice job. Also with the Stark County Band Show, our kids are doing a very nice job there as well and continue to grow and really represent us well. So just want to say thanks to them. As far as facilities, we just had a meeting with our facilities committee. I think the biggest thing to keep you guys up to date on is we are going to start looking right now at the tennis courts and kind of jumping that ahead. It's something that was going to need to be done in a couple years, but I think anybody that's been to our new middle school or seen when we have model events, some nights we have tennis and volleyball and soccer, we need more parking spaces out there. So we want to provide our kids with an outstanding tennis facility. We're going to look over at the old Y property. We're going to start that work. I will keep you guys up to date, but after our facilities committee meeting tonight, we're going to really get the ball rolling on that, and we'll keep communicating with you. But that's our next big step, because I think obviously it's going to take care of our tennis program the way they deserve, but it's also going to open things up over here for more parking, better safety as people are coming in and out from parent pickup and drop off. And if you have any questions on facilities, I know there's a lot. Mr. Knoll is here as well. Curriculum and programming, just so you're aware, it will either be before the next school board meeting or it will be before the November school board meeting. We're going to call for a board work session an hour before so that all our building principals can come and talk to you about our report card data from last year and really what we're doing to improve and help our students moving forward. And then Jason's already hit finance and audit unless there's anything else. Nope. And guys, we're back in the financial audit. This happens every year, and we had a very good audit last year. We're back in it right now. We're working through everything. So other than that now, moving on to my superintendent update, I just want to start out by saying thank you to our students, our staff, our board, everybody, our parents. It has been an outstanding start to the school year. I had a lot of apprehension, a lot of nerves. We were opening a new middle school. We were moving our elementary school to a new building. It has been phenomenal. Establishing new routines. Got to give a big thank you to our operations, our maintenance staff, our technology department for all the work they've done, for our staff, for our families. It has just been a great start. I wish I had wood nearby. I don't know if this is real, but I'm going to knock on it. And we just have to continue. We have to keep getting better, but really could not have done better. Mental health counselors right now, just so everybody's aware, Krista Gearhart and I met with Hope Behavioral Services. They have posted for our jobs already to get those in here. We're hoping for a quick turnaround, but they said a realistic, a worst case realistic would be we may be looking, getting into that December time here with everything. We're fighting everything we can to get that done. I've communicated we're keeping our partnership with Stark Mar. We do have Dr. Tim King, as you saw, he has already started to come in. He's going to be employed through a special contract through Sandy Valley, because that's where he started, and we're going to be using that as purchase services through us. So there'll be a contract coming to you guys once Sandy Valley gets it finalized for us, just for his services. Just so you're aware, look for that, I would say, in the October board meeting. But we've got him started already working with some of our students here. And as we know, just a need, and it ties into exactly what Mrs. Miller's doing. How do we take care of the mental health of our students? Thing I wanted to mention is, I think a lot of you are aware, there's a mailer going out to our community that the board is suing them, our community members, with their own money. Just to make sure everybody is clear, we are a member of the Ohio Coalition of Equity and Advocacy. And that mission of that organization is to make sure every dollar that's supposed to go to public education stays with public education. So they absolutely are fighting voucher systems out there. They absolutely are doing that. We pay $2 per every student enrolled K through 12 with us. That's something that we've been in for several years. We approved it in January to again be in it. It is not trying to stop people having the right to go to a private school. It is not trying to stop students from going to, if they have a disability or autism, from having those. That is not what it's for. It has nothing to do with what happens at our public school board meetings here. So some of that stuff that was in there, I think, was a little misleading. But we are absolutely involved in that. I want to make sure everybody has that information. If you have questions or anything, please reach out to me on that. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it really, the mission of that organization is every dollar set aside for public education stays with public education. And that's why we're a part of it. Another program, we partnered with the Starr County Library to provide literacy readiness programs at Faircrest Memorial Elementary School. They reached out to Karen and I to approve sending out some information about programs they're running at the Starr County Library. While we love that and we want to promote it, we reached out to Mrs. Bartley, as they say, wrong side there I pointed to. Well, why don't we see if we can't get some of those programs here with us? And the library agreed. So they're going to come in, and instead of our community members having to go to downtown Canton or to other branches, come right to Faircrest Memorial Elementary School. And there's going to be a focus on this year right now, starting with 3 to 5-year-olds, getting them literacy ready, partnership programs for parents. They're going to be at our literacy night that we're going to house on the 29th. But I just wanted to keep you aware, and as we get more information on that, we're really excited to partner with the Starr County Library to bring resources into our community for our families so they don't have to go out, they can come in and get that help, and that's something we're really looking to expand upon here. Other than that, guys, just a lot of really good things. It has been a really good start to the school year. Again, not saying we don't want to strive to get better, because we absolutely do, and we have areas that we're looking to grow upon, but just very, very pleased and very, very thankful to our staff, our students, and our families for everything they've done to start this year off the right way.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move to superintendent's report.
Okay, so starting first here, guys, with our resignations. We have them all on here. You see Paula Radke as a bus driver, Catherine Farrell as our Mentor's resident educator, Lucy Thompson as our choreographer, Brooke Boyer as our junior volleyball coach. Just to throw this out here, this is through a family situation. This has nothing to do with anything. I just didn't want them to think anything negative on that. And then Faith Wickham as a 50% stipend for middle school cheerleader. I would like to recommend that we accept those resignations and thank them for the time that they've put in. As we move down to employment, item B, I'd like to just remind, that's where we added the addendum here. So I'm going to start with the addendum item there of Jennifer Valentine. She's an English language tutor. We do have some English language learners. We're bringing her in for this school year up to 15 hours per week at a $20 per hour rate. She worked with our students at the end of last year as well. And we do have even more students this year, so that's why we're bringing her back. Donna Dalton and Gail Stanford, we'd like to have approved as substitutes on our substitute list for paraprofessionals. Always needing people to come in and fill in. We all know how vital our paraprofessionals, cafeteria workers are to our day, and we need to have those subs available. So just would like to ask that we could get them on the list so we could get them started as well. For our other employment here, if you go through Amy Hogue, she will be taking over the choreographer fall musical stipend. Melissa Cole, I wanted to talk about this one. She was already approved for one extended day. As we sat down with Tricia, Melissa's out there, guys, the amount of work that Melissa does is unbelievable. in our gifted work, and we have some good news to report on our gifted scores coming in here. Everything we'll get that when we talk those report card data things there. But she's also doing a lot of work with our diversity, equity, inclusiveness, and belonging. And so she works well above what she's been paid for, and we want to make sure that we treat her fairly. And so this is the exact same extended days that we would give to our school counselors at the high school, and that's what we're asking to bump Melissa to as well, just so that we're there. Number 3, Crichton Rothermill, if you see him in the back, we're going to strike him off. And the reason I'd like to strike him off, number 3, he told me he was going to get up and leave when I made this statement, but we actually already approved him for this position last month. We don't want to do it again. We'd rather make sure he's on there twice than not get him approved at all, but we do not need to approve him again. And we caught that today, and I thank Catherine for that. So just see him. Allison Faust, the school psychologist, if you see that 6.6 stipend, we brought her in as a behavioral coach, but it's on the school psychologist license, and she is doing the additional work, not writing caseloads, but working with teachers, staying after, doing things like that we wanted to make sure she was approved at that exact same stipend that our school psychologists are. So that if you see that there, that's why that's there. Sharon Williams as a monitor at our high school here, if you remember, that's a new classification that came in with our contract with our classified association, and we're bringing Sharon in at that. And then if you go down through, Shannon Stevens as a district cafeteria worker, Patricia Boone as a substitute bus driver, Nicole Spencer as a substitute educational paraprofessional, Kristen Nixon as a substitute cafeteria worker. And if you look at item 10, I handed that out to you because it was in your online version, but it wasn't in your packets there. For our athletic hires, additional game workers, as well as our coaches. Most of them are head coaches with the weight room in there as well. The one thing you will see on there also is Audrey Knoll. She's been approved as a volunteer volleyball coach, but with Brooke stepping down, she's been there. We thought it was fair and wanted to make sure she's paid for volleyball as well. So she's taking that stipend if you see her on there. And then, so really, I would recommend that that we would accept those as employment. For letter C, gifts and donations, just want to say thank you here. Dave Andrews and family donated $100 for athletes to get physicals that maybe they couldn't afford to take care of the cost of that. Matt Brothers donated a piano to Faircrest Elementary School's music program, valued at $1,500. That's been donated to us as well. The Epworth United Methodist Church made a donation to the Faircrest Memorial Elementary School at $200. And Denise Chevron donated $125 to the Stadium Brick Paver. And it is my recommendation that obviously we'd accept those donations with gratitude there. And then my last one is D. This is transportation provided by third parties. Because as you know, we are constantly looking for bus drivers. We're constantly looking for people to have filled. We have a lot of routes. We have students. Mrs. Hesse does a phenomenal job working with our principals to get students in the right placements. And sometimes that means having to transport them to different facilities. And sometimes adding a bus driver up just isn't the easiest for us to do. So when that happens, we work with partners. We did search this out. We had conversation with people, and LED was really the only one that said they would take this route for us. And they have transported other students in the past. And it's my recommendation we'd approve that contract as well with LED to transport our students. And other than that, that's my superintendent's report.
Okay, I'd like to make the recommendation we vote on the K through C, and I'd like to pull D for a separate vote.
Minus the Crichton Rothman.
Yes, Crichton, we do need to scratch him off.
Right.
And just to make sure we're clear as well, it does include the addendum item.
Right.
As well. Thanks, guys.
I'll second that.
All right, would you call the order, please?
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
We have a motion for D.
Make a motion that we approve item D.
All right, discussion? If not, call the vote.
Mr. Cole?
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton?
Aye.
Mr. Knight?
Abstain?
Mr. Kvesky?
Aye.
Mrs. Davis?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next we have informational items, board concerns. The legislative piggybacking what you said about public funds going out to private institutions, House Bill 290 is a bill that's in the Finance Committee right now. It wants to establish a funding formula to allow families to choose to allow public funding to follow their students to public or non-public schools that they attend. So again, it's kind of an attack on public monies. They're trying to funnel it to the charter schools again, so it's something that it's in committee right now. We'd like to watch and see where it goes, and if it gets too far, we definitely like to approach our legislators and show our concerns about that kind of legislation. All right, there are other legislative items out there, but nothing that's really anywhere outside of the committee, so. All right, are there any questions pertaining to agenda items or board actions? If not, is there other business?
No, just a reminder that Business Advisory Council, we are part of the Stark County ESC. They always provide us with that, so just keep you in the loop on it. If there's anything, we'll let you know.
All right. Any executive session? Okay, if not, someone want to make a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Kowalski,
Aye.
Mr. Cole,
Aye.
Mrs. Davis,
Aye.
Mr. Knight,
Aye.
Mr. Hamilton.
Aye.
Thank you for your attendance.
Thanks for coming tonight.